right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Whiskey Hour here on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. So get a glass, and today, don't get a regular Coke, get a Coke Zero, get a Diet Coke, because we're talking today with weight loss mentor. You can see him on social media at The Big Fella or The Biggest Fella, and we have him here today. You see on the screen, it is Noah Tanner. Noah, we appreciate you having some time out of your day, coming on the Whiskey Hour and just talking about your life, man, and social media, and also your weight loss journey, and how you're currently helping others out, man. So we appreciate you carving out some time for us here today.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be on here, brother. You guys got a pretty cool operation here, so I'm excited to get into it. Maybe we can we'll talk social media and some weight loss stuff too. But I'm down to talk some sports too. It seems like you guys know a thing or two.
And Jay, you were off the screen, but I got some inside knowledge here. And Noah is based out of Michigan. And so we're from all around here. I'm in the Southeast in Georgia. Jay was in Georgia for a while. Jay's been all around the world. But right now you're stationed with your big green egg and your smoker out there in the Lone Star State of Texas. So Jay McLovin, co-founder.
I don't own a green egg. That's for amateurs. I have a full-fledged smoker pit. I will tell you, I am a huge comfort eater because I love barbecue. I mean, barbecue's been in my family since I think I was 3 years old, to be honest with you. So I'm interested to get into talking some sports and also talking some dietary things like that. I find it fascinating, the body and the way the body works, and knowing your body type and how all that plays. So I'm curious to hear what Noah has to say. I used to competitively bodybuild for a long time when I was in the military. That was before I knew you, Logan.
Back in the day.
Yeah, so I did that a hot minute. Now I wasn't professional. We just did on the amateur level, pretty much primarily within the military community. We all competed like that, and it was a lot of fun. And I didn't realize how complex and how scientific it all is. Not just going there and lifting up weights, but there's so much more that goes into it. So I'm really looking forward to hearing all of what Noah has to say and pick his brain a little bit. And I would say you can always learn a little something from everybody. And what an amazing guest to have on today to talk about it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We talk music, we talk sports, we talk a little bit of everything. But today we're kind of meeting in the middle, right, with nutrition and health, which is a focal point for all the fun stuff we talk about here on the show. And before we get into the Q&As, all the questions and whatnot, guys, if you enjoy the episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Of course, we go live each and every single day here on the channel. Might not be the Whiskey Hour, but it could be the afternoon show. It could be Royally Quacked. It can be any of our other great shows here you see on the Elite Sports Entertainment Network. Best way to find all those shows, though, is in our link tree in the description. Just tap on it. You'll see all of our socials. Just scroll down, up and down, and you can find all of the top tier content we put out each and every single day here on all of our various platforms. So, Noah, let's get right into it, man. Let's just get some background information on you. Just how you started, how I came across you on TikTok and whatnot, and really what made you, first off, go from being, I believe, 310 pounds, losing 100 plus pounds, and posting your journey and helping out others on social media. Just let's get a little bit more info about you.
Yeah. So all of this was on accident. None of this was a plan. Did not think I would be, running a coaching business, posting on social media for a living. That was the last thing I thought would be the case. But grew up heavy guy. Grew up very much obese my whole life. Played football growing up. Threw shot put and discus in high school. Lacked a lot of confidence. I was 300 pounds pretty much throughout the entirety of high school. And COVID hit my first year of college. I was just studying business at a local community college here in Michigan. And first semester was fine. Everything was normal. And then, obviously everything shut down, and just decided to play video games just constantly for about 2 months, first 2 months of COVID. Because, I mean, why not? I was just playing Rainbow Six Siege with my friends for way too long. Then April 17th, 2020, I decided to take a random progress photo, and for no particular reason, really. And I kind of had a come to Jesus moment, if you will, where if I can't lose this weight now, when am I going to be able to? I had every hour of every day to myself, to my own whatever I wanted to do, however I wanted to spend the time. I had no work. I had no responsibilities. So I said, if I can't commit to a weight loss journey now, how I expect myself to do this when I have a job and life starts back up again once the world opens up. So From there, I didn't really think. I just started doing. I didn't have all the knowledge. I was making plenty of mistakes, but I committed to working out every single day, no matter what. And like I said, I had no knowledge at the time. So I did a mile run, a mile walk, 2-mile bike ride, a 30-minute swim, and a strength training workout with the only equipment I had in my basement, which was a single 35-pound dumbbell. And I did that for 9 months and lost 110 pounds in a year. Started posting about it on social media come 45-pound mark, I think. Again, not the intention of owning a business or anything like that. Just wanted to kind of share my journey. But then I started seeing people really getting impacted by my message. And I had a specific comment on a live stream one day of a girl from, this was 2020. So it was a long time ago, but I remember her name was Kayla. And she dropped it in my live stream. She said, "Hey, I have an eating disorder, and I ate today because of your videos." And I was like, "Whoa, okay, hold on." So then that definitely turned a switch. I was like, maybe I should try to do something here. Maybe I have something here. Right. My plan before that was just graduate from my community college, go to U of M, or try to go to U of M, get a business degree, and just go get a 9-to-5 somewhere. I didn't really have a plan. And after that, I decided to start posting more consistently. And then I decided I wanted to get into coaching. So I spent the next 2 years, working, studying, getting certified, working a bunch of jobs I didn't want to work. And then in October of 2022, I decided to launch the coaching business and leapt into full-time a few months after that, and have been able to grow it into something a little bit bigger today. So that's my long-winded answer. Hopefully that was enough.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Jay, I'll flip it over to you and see. We'll go and open you up for questions here.
Yeah. So are you, I know you're putting videos out. Are you pretty much, your videos, I watched a little bit of them. I like what you're doing. And I think it's a great thing to help people out that are struggling. You know, I know as an NCO in the Army, you know, one of our biggest things was it would get you kicked out is body fat. And I don't like the way the military does it, because I still don't think it's ever very accurate. You know, they take the tape around your neck, they take the tape around your waist, and then they put those two together and they figure out, yeah, he meets the criteria, he doesn't meet the criteria. And then they put you on all these different food programs, nutritionalists, and all this, that, and the other. And I've always felt that kind of cheats people, because I don't think that's a true measurement, because it tells you fat, but a lot of people, their bodies are just different. And I've always thought that was kind of unfair. Do you ever kind of come into situations where people are comparing themselves unfairly? You know, when they're, because I like my wife, she'll get on that scale every single day. And I said, babe, that number is, you can't live your whole life by that number. I live my life by what I look in the mirror. And if I like what I see in the mirror, then I'm good. And if I don't like what I see in the mirror, then I'll adjust. Because I will tell you, when I was competing in the Army, and like I said, I just did it at the amateur level. I never did anything professional, but when we were competing, you know, I was 202. That's what I listed about I was 202 pounds, you know, and right now I'm 210, but I have 2 knee replacements, and I don't work out as much as I used to, but I guarantee you, I'm still the same. I'm only about 8 pounds heavier, but it's all in my midsection, because I do like to drink a little beer here and there. That's why I say I don't ever say get so focused on a scale. Be more focused on what you see in the mirror. Do you kind of agree with that, or do you have a different terminology or interpretation?
No, yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying and kind of where your philosophy is at. A huge part of what I talk to my clients about, I say it in my videos and pretty much everything I do. It's everyone's coming up from a different upbringing. Everyone's coming up with a different, like, your body literally distributes fat in different areas. Like for me, when I lost my fat, I lose my fat in my face first, and then it comes off my shoulders, then it comes off my arms, and then I start losing it in my legs and my midsection a little bit. Everyone's a little bit different. Yeah. So tests like that in the military can be very outdated when it comes to actually measuring somebody's physical fitness. Now, if they are clearly completely failing those measurements, then okay, then they may have an issue. But I think from a performance standpoint, somebody's body fat percentage doesn't necessarily correlate with their performance, because especially some of these outdated measurements and markers that were used that were come up in like the early 1900s, like BMI, is still used by some pretty large institutions. Just in case you didn't know, I'm not sure if you guys know who Chris Bumstead is. He won the Mr. Olympia bodybuilding competition for the last 6 years in a row. So the greatest bodybuilder of our generation, the Arnold of our generation, he would be labeled as obese using BMI. So, I mean, it's very, there are a lot of pitfalls to some of the old ways that people measure it. But Jay, I think you said it perfectly. If you like how you look and you like how you feel, why the hell would you even remotely even listen to a plastic box in the bottom of your kitchen table or your kitchen floor? Or your bathroom floor. So it's really just kind of breaking that metric. And I also spend a lot of time teaching people the scale is not only measuring your body fat, it is measuring every part of you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, because my wife's like, I don't understand, Jay. I was personally training my wife, which I don't always recommend personally training your wife. That can usually lead to divorce. But I'll share a quick story about why I say that is. I am a very no-nonsense guy when it comes to lifting in the gym. I feel like if I'm going to give you some of my time, I expect everything from you, and I don't want to hear the crying or the bitching about it. So I take my wife in there, and we go into the gym. This is like a local fitness gym, and there's a part where it's just nothing but a gym, like it's like a parquet floor, and I got a bunch of balls and things where, I guess they do Pilates or whatever in there, but I did it for a different reason. They had a bunch of those little dodge balls. You know what I'm talking about, Logan? Them little dodge balls. So they had like about a good 10 or 15 dodge balls all around the room, and I would put her in the plank or the push-up or whatever it was I was doing. And if her form wasn't right, I would take that dodgeball and I would hit her in the butt with it, right? Every time. It got to a point where she's like, Jay, I think these guys are going to come say something to you. And so she got up and gave me a kiss. I'm like, yeah, back up off my wife. I know what I'm doing. But I'll tell you, she had the best form ever. But anyway, but she always got upset because when she would go to the scale, she wouldn't see the needle move. Like she would see the transformation in her body. Like she could see that her arms were tightening up or her stomach was tightening up, but there was no number on that scale that was moving. And I told her, I said, do you understand that muscle weighs more than fat? So as you're working out with me, you're going to be putting on muscle. You're going to be losing the fat, but you're putting on muscle. So the muscle is going to weigh more than what the fat is. So you probably will see a static or maybe a slight bump, but it's not that's why I say don't go by what the damn scale is telling you. Because like you said, it's telling you everything, it doesn't just tell you what your fat level is.
Yeah. The bigger thing that people really tend to neglect, and like when you say like muscle weighs more than fat, muscle is more dense than fat. So, this much muscle is going to weigh as much as this, comparatively, it is denser. So that's why people say it weighs more than fat. But the big thing that people are really not paying attention to, that are just like the average Joe just trying to drop 20, 30 pounds, is they're not understanding just how much they're holding on to water weight and how much glycogen has a big component. Glycogen is just stored carbs. So like when I'm working out, like I play basketball a bunch. So like every Tuesday I'll go play basketball in the evening for 2-3 hours. I'm wiped. I'm exhausted. I come home. I have a giant protein smoothie. I'm replenishing my glycogen stores. I'm replacing that glucose and storing that energy to replenish those glycogen stores. And sometimes when we lose water weight or gain water weight, and this water weight can be affected by millions of things. We could talk about that for an hour. We probably shouldn't, but there's stress plays a factor. Hormones play a factor. How much you drink, how much water you drink plays a factor. There's millions of different things that people say. So I always recommend for my clients, let's weigh in once a week to watch the trend, see where it's trending towards. If we see an overall trend downwards, then we know we're doing the right thing. But we're going to pay closer attention to their numbers in the gym, closer attention to their behaviors. Are they binge eating? Are they stress eating, etc.? That's the behavior that you want to establish first. It's more about becoming process oriented instead of outcome oriented. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that people are really stuck on.
Right. Because I know you talked a lot about the whole comfort eating aspect, and that's what people tend to go to, and they want to run away from it. I always taught, one thing I always thought was, or kind of told my wife what I did was once, and I still believe this firmly to this day, is once a week, I reward myself. Like, I will have my 6 meals a day, portion controlled meals a day to keep my metabolism going. But then I had that one little cheat day. Usually it's a Saturday or it's a Sunday. but I always stay within my proportions. Like I don't go and have like 8 million hot dogs. I have a hot dog and some chips and a soda, and then that might be my cheat day. I firmly believe in cheat days because it gives people a reward, but it also doesn't feel like they're just being cut out of what they enjoy. And a lot of times people will, I hate the word diet because I think diet is like the worst word in the English dictionary. I always tell people it's a lifestyle. You enter into a lifestyle. And part of that lifestyle is a reward-based system. Okay, I'm going to go 6 days of eating clean, doing everything I need to do, doing the gym, whatever. When I get to that Saturday, I'm going to have my little portion-controlled cheat meal. That way it rewards me and it keeps me from, like you said, crashing on my diet or whatever you want to call it and going back the opposite direction. Because I think sometimes a lot of people, they just can't handle the rigmarole without having a little bit of fun in there. They're just more likely to go against it.
Absolutely. I just had a conversation with a client about this on Friday last week. She was feeling guilty about the fact that like she works in an office and some of the other coworkers in the office will bring in candies or cupcakes or donuts or whatever. It's just like, oh, I'm doing okay. She's down 52 pounds in a year, by the way. So she's losing a pound a week, which is the perfect rate that we're shooting for. So, and I made sure I reminded her of that.
Yeah.
And she was down on herself for having some of the sweets, whatever it was. And I'm like, no, I want you to. That's there to keep you sane, because if you keep trying to I always like to say to them, expecting perfection is guaranteeing disappointment.
Right.
And so if you are trying to eat like a bodybuilder in prep all year round, you are going to screw up every time. And any one of us would. Yeah. So if you can, and as far as the structure of how people kind of format their fun, like you say, you have your cheat day once a week. That's cool for you and your military background. That probably works really well for you. For other people, they need a little bit more of a fluid approach. But the bottom line is, if you don't know how to enjoy the process, if you don't know how to fit in the fun stuff within moderation, then you're screwed. Like you might as well not even try. And your diet is just whatever it is you're eating. It's not something to go on. Like Jay has Jay's diet. Logan has Logan's diet. Noah has Noah's diet. Everyone has their own diet. It's not something you go on. And the lifestyle shift is everything. That's everything I do. That's what I spend my whole day talking about. So,
and that's another thing too. I always find is like a lot of people don't understand that there's different body types, right? Metamorphic. There's a meta. I mean, I can't remember all of it, but there's, I'm talking about this. There's like the 5 or 6 different body types, in terms of your metabolism and the way it works. And you got to figure out what your body type is in order to understand the way your body works. And I just thought that was interesting. It's been years since I've gone back and studied it, so I don't remember all the names of it. I'm just going by what I remember when I used to work out. And
you're go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
So you're referring to like the mesomorph, ectomorph stuff?
There you go. Endomorph. Yeah.
So that is a myth, actually. So that is all. Yeah. So that was actually if I remember correctly, it was a marketing ploy from like early 2000s. There's so much misinformation in the fitness industry. I always talk about, I hate being in the fitness industry. Like there's just so much misinformation everywhere. But are there different body types? Yeah, but no one neatly falls into, oh, me and Jay have big barrel chests, so we're ectomorphs. And then, Logan has this tall of a spine, so he's like, it's not how it works. It's just, it's simply not. It really comes to, it's a more fluid thing. There's not strict categories that you just get like, when you're born, you get placed in a basket of one of those 3. That's just not how it works. Instead, it's entirely dictated by your genetics. It's who are your parents? How were you raised? How do you distribute your fat? Right. So I am 6'4", so I'm on the taller side, and I get most of my height through my torso. So when I was heavy, I held most of my weight in my torso. So I hold a lot of excess skin at the bottom of my stomach because my torso was stretched out, because that's where I held the majority of my fat. So when they talk about like body types, it's most people, when they're looking at it, it's really just how your body holds that weight. Your metabolism is really just a mirror of your lifestyle and your genetics. Like, yes, there are some people in the world that exercise moderately, but seem like they could eat an entire carnival's worth of food and not even gain anything. And then other people will sniff a gram of sugar and they gain 40 pounds. right? There
Yeah.
are people that feel that way. There are other things at play like hormones. It's very heavily genetics dictate so much that people just don't really ultimately realize. But the laws of thermodynamics also are not an exception to anyone. No one is an exception to the rule like a lot of people claim to be. Like the laws of thermodynamics, a calorie is a calorie for all of us. You know,
That's it.
so yeah, that's kind of.
I learned something today. Because again, I never got too much into that ecto, but I heard about it. I was thinking about it. But it's interesting to know that. So I appreciate the clarification on that, and I hope a lot of other people too.
Yeah, I used to believe it too back in the day, so I get you for sure.
Well, it's like you said, you heard it from all the top bodybuilders or any, at the time kind of early influencers around the time saying, oh yeah, these are the 3 body types or so that you'll fall into. And now that we've gotten more advanced, and obviously, the internet's around a lot more prevalent nowadays, more so than ever. You can do a lot more research, and it really just kind of helps out. And like I said, it just be knowledgeable more about this than more so never. It feels like, but talking about like cheat days, and I know you're not doing anything like The Rock, where he has the 20 pancakes and 2 buckets of KFC or whatever the hell he has. But he's chiseled like a Greek god. He slimmed down about, I think, 50 or 60 pounds for a movie.
Those recent pictures, he's looking a little bit more slim than usual. People are thinking he's off of the juice, which I don't know, but we'll see.
I mean, look, it is The Rock, right? He's been in great shape his whole life. He was a football player, went into wrestling, and then he's continued that with acting. But he just got larger and larger. It's like every year, but he looks good, slimmed down though. I think. Jay, have you seen those photos?
I just have to interject a public service announcement. So for legal liability purposes, we are in no way inferring that The Rock does steroids. We adamantly are saying that we do not know.
Yes, we do not know.
Correct. We do not know.
We do
don't
not
know.
know.
If you're gonna sue anybody, sue him. Don't come to me. Maybe even him.
Yeah.
We do not know.
Okay. All right. I got you. But let's get back to it here. So you mentioned cheat. I want to know what's your cheat meals. What is something that you either, if like I say, if you're trying to lock in, it's like I can't have it today, but give me 3 more days when it's the weekend, right? Out with friends and family. That you're like, okay, I waited, I was good. What are you going for? What are you grabbing for?
Yeah. So for me, I take a pretty fluid approach. I have made it a point to, once I've lost the weight, to not track calories on purpose. So I have a pretty fluid approach with how I approach my eating. I get a little bit more structured with my training, but it's important to me to not have to kind of fall into any sort of specific diet protocol and still just be able to live life. Because I kind of fell off the deep end during the weight loss and kind of got over restrictive. Like I was counting the calories in my toothpaste. But I know what the premise of the question is. What gets me in trouble, I'm a slut for some Chinese food, man. I really, just give me like some shitty mall court Chinese food. It's going to really make me feel horrible later. That was always good. Donuts. I grew up eating like Long Johns and eclairs, like before school with my dad. So those are always a guilty pleasure of mine. And I mean, ice cream, but that's everybody. So
hell, Ben and Jerry's, salted caramel. Let's freaking go,
dude. I used to. What I would do is I would get one of the larger containers, and I would use a fork instead of a spoon, and I would go across the top, and I would call it mowing the lawn, and I would just go across the top in rows, and then I would go in columns the opposite way. And that's how I would eat it. And next thing I know, I would blink and then, oops, there's a whole container empty next to me. What happened? Yeah. Oh God.
Let me tell you about what Jay did. Jay would take a gallon of Bluebell, vanilla, chocolate. I don't care what it is.
Whatever.
And I would tell my friends, I say, you know what? I'm about to eat this whole gallon in about 2.5 minutes. What? Oh yeah. 2.5 minutes. This whole thing's gonna be gone. But we have to let me do my preparatory first. What are you talking about? Man, I threw that whole Logan. You cannot make this up. This is what I did as a kid, man. I threw that whole gallon of ice cream into the microwave. I'd nuke that thing in about a minute and a half. Hey, watch it. And what I would do is I would cove it in just a little bit to make it spout. I would make the bowl into a spout, Logan, and I would just, and then that would come back down and empty. And I would take a whole gallon like that, Logan. Kid you not. No shame in the game. Please, for this. That was back in the day. I don't do that anymore.
No, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can survive that now, but
man, if I even look at a gallon of ice cream, I'm putting on weight. Man, are you kidding me? I'm gonna tell you this though. Hey, look, all you Chinese buffet places out there, I'm onto your game, man. Look, you come in here, it's all you can eat for whatever it is they charge you. You know, damn good. Well, every damn thing in there's fried. You look, you within the first 10 minutes, you're full. You're good. Yep. Then you walk out, you get home, you're like, damn, I'm hungry again. I'm telling you, it's a scam of the Chinese food industry, but I'm on to you. Get it, man.
You got your eye on it, I see.
I'm just saying, like, you get bloated on that fried food and you get home and you realize all that fried food, once it dissipates, yeah, you're hungry again. All over again. Yeah, I'm on to you, man.
Well, it's like you were saying, no, like the Chinese food in the mall, right? I don't know. For when I was growing up, there was always a Sarku Japan in the mall. And they like literally 2 weeks ago, they opened a standalone restaurant 5 minutes from my house. I'm like, I had no idea that it was even opening. It's like it just moved in overnight. And I'm like, oh, of course you have a $7 chicken teriyaki special right now because you opened. I'm like, no, I'll wait. I'll hold off on that. But it's like, yeah, I mean, it also depends on where you're from, right? A lot of places, if you're in the city. If you're in a kind of a more woodsy area or whatnot, you don't have a whole lot to go for. That can also kind of dictate, like you said, like where you grow up and your eating habits. And just, like my parents, we never had a whole lot of fresh vegetables in the house because my parents didn't eat vegetables. So I didn't growing up. But once I went off to college, really, then it's like, oh, hey, we've got all this stuff over here in the cafeteria. It's like, oh, look, a salad bar. Interesting. Okay. At least didn't have that much on it.
Said Logan, we want a salad. Logan said, "Do I look like a freaking rabbit to you?"
I'd say, why would I eat the food that my food eats? But
that's a Ron Swanson line right there.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is. Good catch on that.
I will tell you though, hey, do you guys have Benihanas out where you are? I don't know if y'all know what that is.
I know what it is. I don't. We don't have any in my area.
I haven't been to one, but I don't think there's one near me.
You know what I'm talking about? Where they make the hibachi right there in front.
Yeah.
I have found that I really enjoy that as a cheat meal because I feel like I'm getting the steak, I'm getting the pork, I'm getting the lobster, I'm getting all the cool stuff that they have, the fried rice, whatever. And I feel like it's a cheat day, but it's not really a true cheat day because everything's portioned and everything is still cooked pretty. I mean, the vegetables, it's all right there. I mean, it's not fried. I always found that was a good cheat day, and I enjoyed the food.
Oh, any sort of like stir fry is right up my alley. So that's my favorite kind of hibachi style stuff.
Yeah.
Something that you said about the buffets and not feeling full, there's a pretty basic nutritional explanation to kind of everything you were just saying. So the reason you'll feel a little bit more full after like a traditional, like good Benihana hibachi is because, like you said, it's leaner cut, it's lot fried. You're getting more protein and you're getting more vegetables. So you're getting more fiber and you're getting more protein. Fiber and protein are what you need to keep yourself full, right? And when you're going to like a buffet, for example, a lot of it's fried. The vegetables are few and far between. If they do exist, they're pretty sparse, or they're a part of a different, it's like a part of a chicken dish or whatever, right?
Right.
And the further a food is processed, the lower the nutrient density. So when a food is a whole food, when people talk about the term whole foods, that is closer to source. So if I go out into an apple tree and pick the apple off the tree, that's about as whole as it gets, right? There's no processing happening there unless the seed, whatever, right? So that is a whole food. That is going to naturally there is fiber in apples, so I'm going to see relatively full, but if you eat more protein and focus on fiber and just in general focus on whole foods, you will stay more full because the nutrient density is higher. So there's more total nutrients in the food, because then instead of like, let's say, look at chicken, for example, right? If I get like straight from a butcher, fresh chicken breast, that is going to keep me more full compared to a chicken nugget. It's not because the chicken nugget's evil. It's just because that chicken was butchered 3 weeks ago, and then it was frozen, and then it was fried, or whatever the process is, right? And then it was transported, and then it was frozen again, and then it was stuck in the shelves. So every layer of the processing protocol kind of strips nutrients away more.
Oh,
and
yeah.
more. So that is why we feel so less full when we're eating the higher processed foods, because there's less nutrients for our bodies to break down.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I did like you said earlier, one of your it's a TikTok video or Instagram, I think I saw it on, but where you were talking about when you, like you said, when you were having your comfort food and people were trying to stay on their diets, this, that, and the other, and so you would basically take yourself out of the equation and go do something completely different. And that's the exact same methodology when I went, Logan, in 2010 is when I went back into service on my second half of my career, and I was going from the Navy to the Army at that time. And so, but I was also a smoker, and I did exactly the same thing he's talking about. Every time I wanted to have a cigarette, I would either do push-ups or sit-ups, or I would go outside and go like on a 2-mile run. And by the time I got back, I didn't want to do nothing but lay down. And I find and then after about 2-3 weeks of doing that, I realized, man, I don't even care if I have a cigarette anymore. I could be around people who smoke all day long, and it doesn't bother me anymore. And I think you were right on when you said, just take yourself out of that mindset, take yourself out of that equation, and then put your mind someplace else, or distract your mind on someplace else. That is a really good technique to use. So I'm really glad that you're sharing that with people, because I found that to be extremely effective.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're using it. I mean, a lot of people will sit there and kind of make life harder for themselves. But at the end of the day, if a lot of people get in trouble with the boredom eating and the stress eating, they're not eating because they're hungry. They're eating because they're bored or they want dopamine. Go do something else. It's a waste of money if you're buying groceries that's meant to be meals and you're eating at a snack at 3 p.m. because you had a rough day at work. So when you feel like you need to regulate yourself and you want to break that relationship where your ultimate comfort is always food all the time, literally just leave your house, go get out of the kitchen, remove the proximity, and change your environment. And that kind of goes for everything. Even if you're not dealing with any sort of stress eating or comfort eating issues, just in general, if you're dealing with something mentally, shifting your environment, moving your body and talking to somebody. I made a video a while back. I was like, if you want like a $10,000 wellness course or guru in a nutshell, here's the 3 things. Talk to somebody about it, go walk, and change your environment. If you do those 3 things, you'll probably feel a lot better afterwards.
Let me ask you a question. I know like when in the lifting weight world, when you there's various levels of plateauing. When you're working out, you'll plateau. And usually when I would plateau, is I would switch up my whole workout process. I would switch up my rep counts. I'd switch up what days of the week I do my body parts. I mean, I would switch up the exercise, the whole. I would do everything I could to keep my body to where it didn't get into that rut of, okay, I know what's coming up. I always wanted to keep my body guessing so it didn't know what was coming its way. And I felt like I could always break the plateau that way. Now, when you're with your clients and you're talking to people and they're losing the weight, obviously, if you're morbidly obese, you can use, if you follow a strict diet and work out, you could drop that weight really super quick. But then you got to a certain point where you will plateau, where the dramatic weight loss is going to be shrunk down, and you won't lose the weight as quickly as you were when you were morbidly obese and coming down. What do you tell your clients to keep them motivated mentally to get past that plateau period?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, there are 2 different types of plateaus. I mean, you can have a strength plateau and you can have a fat loss plateau or a scale plateau. For the strength plateau, if someone's just not seeing themselves push the numbers in the gym as much, it's not super uncommon, just because if you're in a calorie deficit, if you're trying to go down on the scale, naturally you're not going to be packing on the muscle. It is possible to do both at the same time. It's just really, really slow, and you have to be in a very specific calorie range for everybody. So a lot of the times when people are having a hard time progressing in the gym, I'll check in. Firstly, I'm immediately checking their sleep. Have you been sleeping like shit? If you've been sleeping like shit, you are guaranteeing a bad day, a bad workout, and more stress, and a higher likelihood to screw up on your diet, right? So I'll check in on their sleep. I'll check in on their preparation. I'll check in on all the outside factors, and usually something is a red flag that we can address instead of having to restructure the whole workout program. But then it's also teaching them, okay, how can I train smarter? Like, a lot of people think, walking into the gym, I want high reps so I can tone. That's not how it works. But as you get somebody, more acclimated into the gym, you can teach
Right.
them the principles of intensity and how to measure that intensity, and using scales like RIR or RPE, reps in reserve, or rate of perceived exertion, basically just grading how much intensity you're putting out. Because if you are lifting at a slightly lower volume but higher intensity, that's going to yield better results, at least from a literal hypertrophy standpoint. So that's typically just kind of finding, okay, where are we slipping that we're not seeing it? It's kind of where are your blind spots when it comes to the muscle plateaus. With the fat loss plateaus, when the scale stops moving, that's when it gets interesting, right? So the first thing to consider is, how long has the plateau been happening? How far deep are they into a journey, right? I just got off the phone. We started this call at 4. At 3, I had a client call with a guy named Brett who's down 75 pounds. And Brett said he was a little annoyed because the scale only moved 2 pounds this month. It usually moves 4 or 5, because he still has a pretty considerable amount to lose. And I was like, okay, let's look at what we need to adjust here. But for somebody like him, it's not even a plateau, because the scale didn't really even stagnate. A lot of times people will think it's a fat loss plateau because the scale didn't move for a week or 2. Brother, man, that's not a plateau. That's just the human body doing its thing. Don't fucking change a thing. Excuse my language. Don't change a thing. Instead, keep doing exactly what you're doing. An actual plateau is if the scale hasn't moved for months, like 2+ months. Then I would say you're in a plateau. When those things happen, we're going to focus on, are the non-scale victories still happening, right? Kind of like what we talked about at the beginning, right? Are you seeing new veins? Are you seeing a looser belt buckle? Are you fitting into smaller shirts? Are you feeling better in the gym? Are you hitting PRs in the gym? If that's happening, I could give a fuck about what the scale says, to be frank. Like, we're still hitting all the metrics that matter. But if none of those things are happening and the scale isn't moving, what we'll typically do is we will adjust the calorie amounts. We will either put them on a 2-week diet break. It's really just down to specifically the time frames, who the person is, and what they've been doing for a long time. Because there are moments where a client's been strictly dieting for an extended period of time, and we do need to take a step off the gas and go through a 2-3 week diet break to kind of reset some things. But I try to reference the metabolism as little as possible, because for most of the time it just gets used as a buzzword, and people use it as kind of a scapegoat for why they're not, and then people just quit because they say, oh, my metabolism. I used to say the same thing before I lost my weight. So, but that's in a nutshell. There's a lot of different things you can do, but largely it just depends on who they are, how long they've been losing the weight, how long this plateau has been happening, and then we just kind of look for the blind spots into what they might be missing.
And no, I want to expand on something you brought up a little bit ago, talking about sleep, and also we'll couple that with hydration. How important is that for those who are trying to drop some pounds or gain some muscle in the gym? Just talk about the importance of really just both of those with your sleep and also staying hydrated, drinking tons of water.
For sure. So what I say with sleep, both for fat loss and for muscle gain, however much you think it is important, it's twice as important as that. That's what I say to people, just to give them some perspective. And the thing that I always like to educate my clients on is it's more so, here's what happens if you don't get enough sleep. Poor sleep hygiene. If you're sleeping 5 hours a night, scrolling on your phone too much, or whatever the case might be, if you go extended periods of poor sleep, you are screwing up your hormones. And when you screw up your hormones, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Your testosterone can lower. And this is after an extended period of poor sleep. One bad night of sleep isn't going to do this. But if you are consistently getting bad sleep, you are consistently screwing up your testosterone. You are consistently screwing up your estrogen levels. You are consistently screwing up your hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin. These are the 2 hormones that are released to tell you. Ghrelin is released when you are hungry, or when you feel hunger. That's because ghrelin was released. And leptin is what's released to tell your body and tell your brain, hey, we're full, we're good, we don't need any more. So you can imagine how difficult this is going to be to lose weight if your hunger hormones are completely out of whack. So what a lot of people will find is, oh my gosh, I'm so much more stressed and I can't stop eating. I'm so hungry all the time. Why is this happening? Jessica, it's happening because you haven't slept more than 5 hours since 2001. And that's typically what happens. That's the big thing that I like to tell people. And on top of that, extended periods of poor sleep also can lead to poor insulin secretion, which can lead to insulin resistance. And it's a term that a lot of people have heard, but they don't really know what it means. So I'll give you the kind of the cliff notes of what this looks like, because it can really screw with you. Insulin, when you eat food, your blood sugar spikes. It's supposed to. People will try to fearmonger that on social media. Your blood sugar is supposed to spike. That's what the body does. Okay, so you eat anything, blood sugar spikes. Insulin is then secreted to bring your blood sugar back down to homeostasis, to normal levels, right? That's what insulin does. It's a regulator, okay? What happens when you're insulin resistant, it means your body isn't good enough at either detecting how high or elevated your blood sugar is, or it's not secreting enough insulin, period. So if I eat something and my blood sugar spikes, but I only secrete a little bit of insulin, my blood sugar is still elevated. And what happens if your blood sugar stays elevated again over a prolonged period of time? Right. You're at higher risk for diabetes. And then that's a whole other can of worms. Yeah. So that's typically what I like to say around sleep. It's just that important. And then also from a muscle building perspective, that's where all the actual growth happens. The rest and recovery, specifically REM sleep, is what's super important for energy levels and for recovering from a workout. And then hydration is obviously important. A lot of people get it a little not confused, I'll say, but like, obviously, yes, drink your water. Yeah. I'm not one of those people that's going to jump your bones and say you have to drink a gallon a day. I've gone through periods like that. I usually feel really good when I do that. My skin looks really good. Like there's a lot of benefits to drinking more water, and you should drink more water, but hydration is a little tricky because a lot of people neglect electrolytes. They neglect salt. They neglect potassium, all the other pieces to the puzzle that are meant to actually hydrate you, and actually hydrate you more effectively than what water would. And so what I like, people don't really consider it, but like fruit is incredibly hydrating. Right. So if you're feeling dehydrated, go smash a watermelon. You'll be good after that. Like it's, go crush a cantaloupe, So that's kind of what I'll say on sleep and hydration.
Well, Jay, I've had my banana today, so we're good.
My wife used to make fun of me because I would keep bottles of Pedialyte in my refrigerator.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yep.
And like whenever, like if I do like long ruck marches, or if I'm gonna do like a lot of intensive outdoor training or whatever, I will take Pedialyte with me and I'll drink that as I'm going down, because you're right. I mean, it tastes like crap. I don't like the taste of Pedialyte, but but what it does for you, like you said, in terms of electrolytes, it's the best hydration you can have. I'm surprised more sports athletes aren't, and maybe they are doing Pedialyte in their diet, but it is a good way to re-energize your body from a hydration standpoint. Yeah.
Just quick recovery. That's really what it comes down to. It's more important for people who are more athletic. Like if you are training 4, 5, 6 times a week, it's kind of especially outdoors. Like I've been doing a lot of distance running, so it's been hotter than balls. I need my hydration, it just straight up. If I'm running 10 miles in the heat, like I'm going to be drenched in sweat afterwards. I need to rehydrate. So.
Yeah. And let's couple that into liquid calories, because that's something I hear you talk about. I hear every, influencer talking about, and I feel like people don't realize just how much calories, sugar, et cetera, is in, a 12-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola. Is in your sauces you have in your fridge right now, and your soy sauce and ketchup. Just describe that, and also maybe some workarounds or some alternates that you found to help out. Like I have some G Hughes barbecue sauce. It's sugar free.
Yeah,
it's like 10 calories.
Yes, sir.
I get used to a little bit because you're not getting the full taste, but it makes it work. You add a little bit of hot sauce, you're good to go. You mix it with that. So talk about just liquid calorie stuff that people, coffee creamer, right? Pumpkin spice season's here. Just talk about, just how those sneak up on those out there.
For sure. This is actually one of the things I typically promote earliest on in the program when I work with my clients is, let's make sure we're plugging all the holes we're not seeing. Let's say we're addressing all the sneaky stuff that people are overlooking. And I like to call them empty calories. The actual action of drinking like an Arizona tea or a Coke with full sugar, it's not going to kill you. It's not evil. It's nothing inherently wrong. But the idea around it is, when you are trying to lose fat, you don't want to consume any calories that don't directly lead to you feeling full or satisfied. So if I have a 210 calorie Coke, I could have instead used that to eat something else that was 200 calories and gotten a Coke Zero, still got the taste of the Coke, but then use those 200 calories for something else that would lead to me being more full. Because a lot of people have a hard time managing their hunger while on a fat loss journey. So being more aware of the stuff that is higher calorie, that doesn't make you any more full. Like I could sit here and drink 9 cans of Coke. I am going to feel pretty much the same as far as hunger afterwards. Like I'll have a bunch of carbonation in my stomach, but like as far as actual hunger goes, I'm going to feel roughly the same, but I'll have another 1,000 calories that I've consumed, right? So that's what I want people to really avoid, because I work with a lot of guys who are like blue collar, for example, and they'll be drinking Gatorades and Cokes and all this other stuff. And again, that's fine. If you need a Gatorade to hydrate, get a Gatorade Zero, do whatever you need to do. But if you're having tons of butter on your eggs in the morning, if you're drinking 2 full sugar energy drinks and a Gatorade at work, there's 700 calories right there. You need 500 calories for a healthy deficit every day to lose a pound a week. So if you just switch to 0 sugar options and those alone, you're going to allow yourself to achieve a calorie deficit without feeling like you're sacrificing much of anything. And as far as like recommendations for specific swaps, any sort of 0 sugar soda is great. There have been 0 links to cancer in human studies ever. So anyone's screaming about cancer, there's just no proof for it for humans. There was like 1 study for rats that showed like a spike in carcinogens, I think. Don't quote me on that because it's been a while since I actually looked at it, but I know there's no studies in humans on it. My favorites, one thing that I spam 24/7 is like the little Mios or the Crystal Lights. The water flavors. Water. I'm a big Arnold Palmer guy. So I've got an Arnold Palmer one in my fridge. I got a big old mason jar, 3-4 ice cubes, a big old plastic straw, and I've got basically a liter of Arnold Palmer to drink. It's like 10 calories for the whole thing. Like I'm doing that every day, twice on Sundays. Like why wouldn't
I'm a big proponent of Crystal Light. I like Crystal Light. I like Crystal Light, and I like also, but a lot of times I'll just take ice water and I'll throw in some lemon juice or some lime juice, depending on what I'm feeling. Yeah. Because I was and I would do that. Like I go through my bulking phase, and then when I got to go through the cutting phase, then I would have 0 soda, no, all you saw in my refrigerator was Crystal Light or lemon water or lime water, and that's it. And then what I did at nighttime, because I am a big nighttime snacker. So what I did to combat that, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this, but I always felt like celery, pickles, stuff like that has like pretty much nothing in it. It's almost like a pseudo feel to get me through the night. But it kept me from eating all of what I wanted. Like you said, the comfort foods, right?
Chips and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I call them free calorie foods. Like you can eat as much celery as you want, carrots, whatever. It ain't gonna hurt you. And that's what you cannot use the ranch dressing, Logan. I don't know.
You can't have that. No,
dipping your carrots in the ranch dressing.
Let's say you can't have.
That doesn't count. Yeah, that doesn't count.
They can't have that. You can't do the the Ansel log with the peanut butter and the raisins and whatnot. Now you could use the if you like the powdered peanut butter, the PB2. I use that. That it works fine. Add a little bit of salt to it, makes it a little bit better. Ways to cut down on some calories while still getting that taste. I know for ice cream, we talked about that earlier. Whenever I got my wisdom teeth removed years and years ago, that's where I discovered Halo Top ice cream. Very tasty. You can eat the whole pint for like 300, 400 calories, something like that. Which, I mean, hell, who's not gonna love that? And one thing I always keep in the freezer, I always keep the Yasso bars. If you ever had those, those are delicious.
Are so good.
Jay, if you haven't had those, next time you go to the store, get some Yasso bars. They're Greek yogurt bars, but they taste just like ice cream. And they are delicious.
I just had. So my wife goes and gets those real fruit popsicles.
Oh yeah. Those are great in summer.
Yeah. So I said, hey, babe, go get. Can I get some of those Nutter Butter? The little ice cream cone with the chocolate and the sprinkle. And you know what she does? She brings me home real fruit bars. So. Yeah, it is what it is. So she's looking healthy. She does.
Most of those popsicles, even like the fruits, or even like the the normal ones that we all grew up eating, even those aren't that bad calorically. No. Like as from a calorie perspective, like actual literal popsicles are still very low calories. So it's something a lot of people overlook. There's a lot of stuff that people would think is either super high calorie or low calorie, but until you actually look at the label, you might be surprised.
Yeah,
go ahead, Logan. I apologize.
No, I've been recently I finished off a pack of. If you ever had the Spindrift waters, carbonated seltzer waters.
Oh yeah, the carbonated ones. Yes,
Yes,
I've tried those before.
Yeah, those are good. Like I said, the ingredients are very clean. It's they use real fruit in it. I had it was a Nojito, Jay. It was a Nojito, so it tastes like a mojito, cool. But obviously it was just carbonated water. It was the seltzer waters. So
yeah,
it's like 4 calories or whatever. And I will say this, it tastes pretty damn accurate, all things considered. So if you're not a fan of soda, right? If
I'm not. If I'm not getting some sort of tipsy off of it, it's not.
All right.
Don't give me no damn O'Doul's. I know what the crap is.
You don't want the Budweiser Zeros or nothing like that.
Oh man, not the O'Doul's. I used to bartend, so I haven't heard that in a while.
No, I had the worst and best experience when I was in the Army, all right, and it's about 2010, 2000, and all the way up. And when we go out on deployments and things like that, or I go out in the field or just whatever I was doing, she said, Jay, I got an idea. I'm gonna put you on a 1,200 calorie diet. I said, 1,200 calorie diet. What the hell am I gonna do with the 1,200 calorie diet when I'm out in the field burning about 4,000 calories? Do you know what that would do to me? That would absolutely just and she, yeah. And so she gives me this sheet, and on this sheet it has all the different foods. And then off to the set, it has a whatever the calorie number is. So you got $1,200. So now I got to take this sheet and I got to add up to 12. Okay, so I can have whatever. I put it all together. That's 1,200 calories, right? So it's like a cheat sheet for it, right?
Yeah, right.
I looked at her and I said, "Listen, you can go get this to the granny who can't get up off the couch and is trying to lose weight. I'm out there 4,000 calories burning, and you want to give me 1,200 calories? What am I going to do with that?"
Yeah, no. You'd be surprised how many guys try that. I mean, a high school teenage cheerleader girl is not gonna. I mean, that's the amount that she would need. A grown ass man in the military. No, that's just no.
Well, if that was gonna get you through lunch, that's maybe
right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I've been going a little bit. I'm a big volume eater, so I'm not. Just for personal preference on how my eating style is, I like to eat like 2 large meals per day.
Okay.
Instead of like 4 or 5. That's just how I operate.
Yeah.
And I ate at like 2:00 today, and that meal alone was probably 1,200 calories.
Yeah.
But it was tons of protein. It was really good, but it was also like that is some people's entire diets, and it's insane to me that people are trying to do that. But I've made that mistake. I've lived that life. I used to try to when the first 3 months of the fat loss journey for me, I was trying to survive on 1,500 as a 300-pound kid, exercising 4 hours a day. So
I know those first couple of days and weeks were just killer. I'm sure. Just
yeah, man.
Why me?
Yeah. I mean, it was an interesting phenomenon because I wasn't really thinking about it, and that was the biggest thing. Is so many people are so outcome oriented, and I was not thinking about how far I was going to go or how much weight I was going to lose. I just had zero distractions. It was the only thing I was doing. And did it suck? Hell yeah. A lot of it sucked, but it was doing a lot for my self-belief. It's like, I told myself I was going to do this really, really, really difficult thing, and I'm doing it, and I'm not making excuses, and I'm not missing a day.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people need is just, if you can get some momentum and you can show yourself that you can do hard things, that's really all it comes down to. That's what all people I think need. Like, I mean, Jay, you probably feel a lot more secure in yourself after going through your different experiences in the military. You probably went through some hellish days, but you got through them. So now you have a higher self-belief. So now you are more capable for attacking whatever else gets thrown at you. And I'm sure, Logan, you the same thing. I mean, maybe you didn't go through the military, but you've obviously had everyone's had their hard days. Yeah. The more hard stuff you do on purpose, that's what I encourage anybody to walk towards. Like, do it because it's hard. Do it because it sucks. Yeah. And it's gonna feed your soul way more than you think it will. And it's gonna solve a lot of the issues that a lot of us are addressing, and we feel like there's no solution to them.
And let's be honest, you went through a hard journey, but the biggest payoff I would think out of that journey is 2 things. Number one, your life is going to be probably extended because you're not having to carry around all of that stuff, right? And then number 2, I feel like, which is really important to me, is you're like you said, you're going to feel, number one, you're going to feel better about yourself, and you're going to probably live longer because you're not carrying around all of that crazy weight. Your breathing is going to be better because you're not, if you're not around a lot of obese people, you know that they are heavy labored breathers.
Mhm.
Yep.
That should be your first indicator that I need to do this, because if I don't do this, the biggest payoff is that you're going to be alive.
Yeah.
I talked about barbecue a minute ago. I had an uncle that was the best barbecuer in the state of Texas, factual based. I mean, he would win every cook-off that they ever threw at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo out at the Astrodome. Every one of them, he would win top notch every time. But the problem was, he always ate a lot of barbecue. And what got him was he got carotid, the carotid arteries. And I mean, it was just, the barbecue literally killed him because it was so fat. There's so much fat and so much into that it literally killed him. And I really watched that. Now, I like to eat barbecue, but I barbecue pretty much June to August off and on. And then after that, I don't barbecue anymore. I use that one little sector of time because you're around the 4th of July, and I do it that time period. But then after, because I know, and that's just barbecue. I mean, you can pretty much use any other food group to be the same thing, right? But I think the biggest payoff probably for your clients is you're making them healthier to have a better, prosperous life, because it not only does it make you look better, but it makes you feel better.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I had a conversation with 2 clients last week that were just seeing veins in their arms and their hands for the first time. And these are 2 guys that have been so committed to the journey, and they're so focused and locked in on this. And it's been really cool for me to see. And that's why I love doing it. I talked to a mentor, one of my mentors in my personal life. And he said, when you're asking yourself what fulfills you, what's the fulfillment question? When you're not sure what to do, ask yourself the question, who do you want to serve? Who do you want to spend your time serving? Who do you want to help? And I've been blessed to be able to help people that were like me, and seeing, oh, hey, by the way, I went to the doctor and my blood pressure's down back to normal levels, or, hey, I went to the doctor, I'm no longer pre-diabetic. That's the stuff that matters. That's adding years to people's lives. And I remember very distinctly going to the doctor not too long after I lost the weight. And the doctor's like, I just met you, because there's a specialist for something else. But he was like, I just met you. Congrats on the weight loss. You easily added 10 years to your life. I was like, damn. All right. Thanks. It was kind of, I wasn't expecting to hear it. Yeah, no, it's something you take for granted. It really is. And as soon as you start, it's kind of sucks, because I'll have people approach me to work with me after they hit a breaking point. Like, yeah, I went to the doctor and they said I was about to have diabetes, so I figured I should probably start changing it. And it does suck that people wait to that point, but it's better than the people that never make the change at all. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to have, everyone has that wake up call, or that, clarity moment of, oh, damn, I need to change something.
Yeah.
Just before it's too late. And no, just real quick here, we'll do one quick sports question. That's not an Ohio State tank top, is it? I know, no. I see the red. But you're okay. All right.
No.
I had to be safe.
Noah, where are you based out of again?
I'm in Michigan.
Oh, there it is. He's got the
That's right, Michigan. I thought it was Michigan.
Yes,
so no, I wanted to say that. Not that I didn't know where you were from, but I wanted you to point that out, because I said, Logan, how could you ever, the man said he was from Michigan. Do you know what that's like? That's like saying, hey, Jake, is that a Philadelphia Eagles shirt you got on there? I'm just saying, Logan.
As your Cowboys fan. Just having some fun.
Hey, there are plenty of Ohio State fans in this area, so it's not a completely invalid question. They're all the worst people you ever meet, but it is what it is. But yes, Michigan fan through and through, all Michigan, Detroit sports for me. I'm a big basketball guy, so diehard Pistons fan. Michigan basketball, all that stuff. I do get some shit because I am also a 49ers fan, which is obviously way out of left field.
Yeah. How do we get there?
We got there because my dad was a Joe Montana fan growing up.
Okay.
And he's stuck with the Niners ever since, even after he retired. So I grew up watching the 49ers, and my first jersey was a Steve Young jersey. And I have photo evidence of me shoveling my driveway in Michigan with my dad at 3 years old wearing a Steve Young jersey. Okay. And people call me a bandwagon. We haven't won anything. I just watched them lose in the Super Bowl 3 times. We haven't won anything, so I'm not even a bandwagon.
He's what you call a groom. He was groomed to be a 49ers fan.
Yes,
okay?
yes. But I also root for the Lions too because that's the hometown
there
team.
you
So
go. You're in town. Yeah, you kind of have to. And
I'm Michigan everything. Yeah.
At least the Lions and the Pistons are both having a kind of a resurgence. Much to the light of your heart, I'm sure.
It's been beautiful.
With all the rough years they've both had. So like I said, what sports season gets in the full gear? Like I said, football's kicking off tonight, actually, the NFL.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Logan.
So we're going to have to get you back on. We're going to have to bring you back on. This is our health and wellness and whatnot. We get to that, but since we know you're a diehard, Michigan fan, all sports teams fan, we'll have to bring you back on to some of our other shows, the afternoon show where we talk sports and all the fun that goes on with there, and where Jay is, you can really push his buttons if you talk about the Cowboys. So
real quick, I got one thing. I got two things. One question and a comment. The question, super quick. Noah, Eagles, Cowboys tonight. Who you picking?
Who's it at? Where is it at?
It's in Philly.
It's in Philly.
I'm taking Philly.
I'm not mad at you.
It's only week one, Jay.
You guys, I think Philly is still in my opinion, I think they're the best team on paper still. Okay. And you guys just lost Micah, so I think there's going to be some changes on the ego side of things with that team. I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan, I'm sorry that your owner is Jerry Jones.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
But hey,
I
know what it's like to have shitty owners, man. I mean, the Pistons and the Lions have had some horrible management, so I do know what it's like.
Well, he's 82. How much longer can he live? I don't know.
I could be completely wrong. So maybe the Cowboys win.
You never know. Well, hey, no, before we let you go here today, let the people at home know where they can find you on social media and also where they can sign up for your program.
Yeah, so biggest fella is my @ for pretty much everything. Just the biggest fella _ on Instagram and TikTok. I run the Big Fella brand. So if you look up Big Fella brand with 2 G's, you'll find me there too. That's what my YouTube channel is called. And I mean, if you guys are interested in hearing more about what I do and kind of who I help bigger guys, 250 to 350 pounds, lose weight, build confidence, keep it off forever. And I don't like to push my coaching program per se if I ever join a podcast like this, but I do have a really cool free email course that I encourage anybody to join. It goes over all the basics of all the science, all the mindset, all the training, all the eating, all the cardio, everything that you could think you might need for starting a successful fat loss journey. I write it out in a free 31-day email course. You get 1 email from me a day. It's completely free. And if you don't like it, you can just unsubscribe, but people have been loving it so far. So if I've earned enough of your attention to want to hear more from me, then I would recommend people to go there. It's in all the links in all of my bios on all my social media.
All right, guys, go follow him there. And also we'll have those links in the description so you can go check out Noah and all the work he does with Big Fella brand and find him once again on social media at The Biggest Fella. Noah, man, we appreciate you coming on the show today, coming to the Whiskey Hour and chatting about health, chatting about wellness, weight loss, fat loss, and a little bit of sports there at the end, of course. Just kind of a teaser for your next experience, man. Once again, we appreciate you coming on today. It's been a blast.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Had a lot of fun. Seriously, you guys are cool. Thank you.
We appreciate that. Well, for Jay McLovin, I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. This has been the Whiskey Hour here on the Elite Sports Entertainment Network. Until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you again on the